All right, we here. This message is entitled, That They May Believe. Y'all know about the story of Moses. Moses, he took off his shoes. He was standing in the holy place. The Most High ministered to him. My question is, why did y'all do that? Answer is, so that he might believe. Let's go to Exodus 3:12, and I'm going to read it. The Most High is so cool, y'all. Netanel gave that message yesterday. And he literally stood like right over there, and he said, I'm showing you, I can't say it the way he said it, but he basically said, I'm showing you what happened in the Torah, and I'm going to show you how it happened in the New Testament. And I was like, okay, that's it. Torah Most High, that's exactly what I'm doing today. I'm going to show what the Most High did in the whole Old Testament through Moses and how he did it again in the New Testament through Yahusha. So it says, and he says, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, or Mitzrayim, ye shall serve Elohim upon this mountain. So I got a question. We're going to have a little bit of fun, I hope. You can go to the next slide. Have you ever flew a plane before? Anybody here ever flew a plane? If you're online, put a 1 in the chat. Have you ever ridden in a plane? See? It's all good,
You said flew a plane. You should have said...
Flew on a plane. I didn't see that. I didn't see that on part. All right, let me start all over. Have you ever flew on a plane? Yes. What is the golden safety rule? Don't say bomb. That's a good one though, actually. They said it. You put your mask on first, then you put it on your children. Hopefully you follow me with that. You put the mask on first, then you put it on the children, right? So, this message is about that they may believe. Moshe had to believe first before he could take it to the children. Next question. Has something ever piqued your interest? Even though this is for the men, the Ishas, y'all know about this too, because y'all the ones that be saying this kind of stuff. So, the man, you send your husband to the store, you give him a shopping list, he don't want to go. Then he comes home, right? And he don't have everything on the shopping list. And you're like, I gave you the shopping list, right? Well, while the husband was there, he's shopping for food for you because he want to make you happy because he's a good husband. He's a good father, right? But he don't want to be there. And while he's walking in the aisles, he sees his drink that he always likes to buy, and they added a new flavor to it. And so he stops. He looks over at the drink because it piqued his interest. Then he goes home with a little extra, right? So y'all know what I'm talking about. I got another one. God, fill in the blank. God. We did this morning in devotional. Dun, 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 dun. Wow. It's not got milk. I'm going to say it like this. Got stuck, and I don't know why I didn't put that in the slide. You can stay there, Kiefer. Got stuck. All right. How many of you guys know you have to do something? You got to do something, it's priority. But you walk in that room, right? You walk in that room like this. I'm getting in front of everything. and you see the TV on, it might be your favorite show, and then all of a sudden you like that little child, and you stuck. And then 2 hours go by, you never got done what you were supposed to get done. Why? Because it piqued your interest. That's what happened to Moses. When he was leading his father's sheep on the backside of the desert, he saw something. He saw something burning, and it piqued his interest. And he had to go see what it was. So we can go to the next one. I call this the encounter. The encounter. Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 and 3. So Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Elohim, even to Horeb. And the angel of Yah appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt, because it piqued his interest. It says, Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Yasharel, out of Mitzrayim, or Egypt. Guess what the Most High didn't say? I grew up in church, right? I grew up in the Christian church. And they always said, every time we had something we felt like the Most High told us, guess what they said? Oh, make sure the pastor agrees. Guess what they said? Why don't you pray about it for 6 months? That ain't what happened. When the Most High tells us to do something, he didn't say go talk to your pastor and wait 6 months. If your pastor don't agree, then don't do what I said. He didn't say that. He said, when I tell you to do something, do it. You don't need no more confirmation. If you know he told you, do it. You'll see the confirmation in the doing it. And so I just want to put that plug in there. The problem is, look, as Hebrews, we are coming into the truth. And we're waking up, right? And we want this bondage to be over. We want our sorrows to be done away with. The law isn't done away with, but we want our sorrows to be done away with. We want our loved ones to follow Yah Hebraically. We want to cry out to the Most High, and he deliver us. He hear our cry. And I believe he is hearing our cry. But do you know something? He wanted us to hear him first. We're like, Father, hear my cry. He's like, why don't you hear what I said? So he wants us to hear him. And Yah used verbal and non-verbal forms of communication along with signs and wonders. Why did he do that? So that we might believe. Y'all see where I'm going? I ain't trying to beat y'all down. This is a fun message. Y'all smile. And so I just want to show you. This came to me because one of the ox, he's not here. This is Sonato. And I actually talked to Netnell about this a few years ago. He asked me a question. It was something along the lines of, what did the signs mean? Or were the signs significant that the Most High did through Moses? And I was like, I didn't study it. But my first response was, oh, this had to mean this. This had to mean this. And while I was talking, I was like, oh, snap, it does. There is a connection between Moses and Yahusha. And so I called Netnell up. I didn't even know him that good, but I had his number. So I called him up. And he was like, man, I just finished a Bible study with my family, and we talked for like 2 hours. And then we didn't talk ever since then. Think about that. No. Anyway, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm messing. But so this is where this Bible study came from. The sign of the rod. The sign of the rod. So, the sign of the rod. Think about this, all you studiers. It's the first sign. One represents Yah. I believe Yah was showing Moses that he alone was above every kingdom and empire. And he did it through the sign. I'm not going to get deep in the sign yet. I'm going to get into it next. And so let's go to some scripture. Exodus 4:1-4. And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, Yah hath not appeared unto thee. And Yah said unto him, what is in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground after you pray a few months and get confirmation. He said, cast it on the ground after you talk to your pastor and make sure it's not too crazy. He said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. Why? Because he's obedient. He was being obedient. And he cast it on the ground and became a serpent. And Moses fled away from it. I always thought that was funny. So that's why I made that slide like that. I was like, a true Hebrew will run too. And that's what's up. This reminded me of Revelations 4:10 because it said he cast it down. It says, Revelations 4:10 and 11, it says, and the 24 elders fell down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, thou art worthy, O Yah, to receive esteem, honor, and power. Thou art worthy, O Yah, to receive honor and esteem and power. For thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they were created. And that stood out to me because it was like, well, Moses was standing in the holy place. The elders are in the holy place. They're casting down. They're symbols of rulership before his feet. So to me, it's an act of submission to the Most High. It's an act of, it's more than reference. It's you are Yah, number one, first sign. You are Yah. You are Yah above any and everything else. And so that's how I saw it. That's how it stood out to me. Anyway, Yah showed Moshe that his power and authority exceeded the greatest empire of all time. Why? That Moshe would believe. So let's go to the next slide. The sign of the withered hand. The sign of the withered hand. So that would be 2, right? 2 is the bet. It represents the house. No other Elohim in the house, right? So just throwing it out there, let's go to some scriptures. Exodus 4:6-8. And Yah said furthermore unto him, put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, it was as leprous as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again. You know, it says he plucked it out. So in my mind, I'm thinking, he's thinking, oh, it's going to be something else crazy. So he plucked it out, and he's like, oh, it's normal. It's normal. So he plucked it out again of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. Moses, by his strength, put his own hand in his bosom. I looked at hand and bosom. Hand is yod, right? And so Hebraically, it's a yod and a dalet. That's what makes up the yod. So the pathway created by your own hands. The pathway created by your own hands. And then bosom, Hebraically, is a het, a yod, and a kuf, or kaf. Kuf? And it means a place of refuge, right? I don't know if y'all can see that, but a place of refuge. I don't have it blued. So to separate by the work of your hands what is spoken. And so Yah is teaching Moses that he cannot make a pathway of separation and refuge by his own hands. He's got to do it by Yah, by what Yah said. Think about it. He knows he's Hebrew. He's in Mitzrayim. He sees his brother getting abused. He kills the Egyptian. He flees. He's trying to do it by his own hand. He already realized he couldn't. That's why he left that place. And Yah is showing him, no, you can't. Have you ever done something by your own hands? How did it turn out? About as ugly as a withered hand, right? Same for Moses. He's showing him, you can't do this. You can't give them refuge. It's me. You got to go by my word, not your word. So let's read verse 8 again, because I was not going to gloss over that. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign. That's the title of the message, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. Do you know that signs have a voice? Signs are speaking. They're speaking. These signs are speaking. So, back to the game. Fill in the blank. A blank paints 1,000 words. A picture. So, a picture is something you see with the naked eye that tells you a story that will teach you, motivate you, guide you to believe a certain way, if possible. In other words, we can go to the next slide. It's a visualization. A visualization is a better description than a verbal description. It is an adage, a proverb, or short statement expressing a general truth. In multiple languages, meaning that complex and sometimes multiple ideas can be conveyed by a single still image, which conveys its meaning or essence more effectively than a mere verbal description. So, that's a big word. But let me put it to you in an easy word. Television. Did you hear it? Tell a vision. Tell a vision. Because that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. They're telling you a vision, but it's not Yah's. It's theirs. It's their vision. And it's anyone else's vision that don't follow Yah. They're allowed to give it. That's why you can watch Chosen. That's why you can watch all these other TV shows. Yeah, they might start off by the script, but somewhere along the line they deviate. And you know that he wasn't Iraqish. So that should tell you something right there. But let's look at Deuteronomy 13, 1-4 and see what it says. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder come to pass whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other deities. I'm going to stop right there. We just saw that signs speak. Okay, did we see that? Am I the only one? Okay, we just saw that signs speak. So that means if they're giving you a sign or wonder that comes to pass, it doesn't actually have to mean they said it from their mouth, because it's nonverbal or verbal communication. And I'm going to prove that in a second. Right? It says, thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or dreamer of dreams, for Yah, your Elohim, proves you. He's proving you to know whether you love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yah, your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, verbal and nonverbal. And ye shall serve him and cleave to him. Question: how you think a moving picture is even realized? Anybody? Anybody want to take a gander? A thought pops into someone who is creative. It pops into their head. and they don't just let it go. It's not an instant thought. It starts with an instant thought. And that thought runs so deep that they dream about it. You ever heard of a daydream? Daydream or dreaming at night. And they dream about it so much that they want you to see their dream. They want to make it a reality so you can visualize their dream. So again, how do you think a movie picture or a moving picture is realized? Someone thought of it and then brought it to life. So, go back to the game. If a picture paints 1,000 words, what does a movie do? If a picture paints 1,000 words, what does a movie do?
Saul killed 1,000.
10,000. 10,000 words. Keeper. That's good. I didn't even think of that, Keeper. That's tight. He said Saul killed his thousands and David killed his 10,000. So would a movie paint 10,000 words? That's what's up. See, scholars all around. Movies or your favorite shows teach us, whether we know it or not, to accept a way of thinking that is far from the truth. And they teach us how to live. They teach us about raising our children. They teach us about how to marry. They teach us about how to divorce. They teach us how to have fun. They even teach us about the end of the world. Well, don't stop there. They even teach us about the 10 Commandments. Yeah, that don't look like Moses. They don't even try to hide it no more. But they're teaching us to not just accept, but tolerate, maybe for some, even love the darkness or the things of this world and what this world has to offer, because it's something we can visualize with our naked eye. And like I said, they have gotten completely out of hand. Watch, be careful what you let your children watch. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard of the show K-pop Demon Hunters? K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, you about to find out. You about to find out. This is one way the world gives their vision, and this is how the world tells you their vision or their dream, according to Deuteronomy. K-pop demon slayers. It's got to be all right. They slaying demons. Demons don't like y'all, so it's got to be fine, right? Let's read what it's about. American animated. This you can look this up on Wiki. American animated musical urban fantasy film directed by Maggie King and Chris Applehands from a screenplay they co-wrote with Dana Jimenez. I can't even say. I don't even care to say all these names. Jimenez and Hannah McClellan, based on a story conceived by King. That one was easy. Produced by Sony Pictures Animated, whatever. The film, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to point. The film follows a K-pop girl group, Hunter X, who lead double lives as demon hunters. They face off against a rival boy band, the Saja Boys, whose members are secretly K-pop demons. Kang's desire to create a story inspired, this is the producer, a story inspired by her own Korean heritage, drawing on elements of mythology, demonology, and K-pop to craft a visually distinct and culturally rooted film. Visualization. They're telling their vision to your children. Why? that they may believe.
That was fire.
Cooking.
So when they get older, they don't depart from what they were taught. We don't want this for our children. We don't want this for us right now. And so let me get back into it. Zechariah 4:6. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of Yah unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith Yah of hosts. It's not your strength. It's the Most High's. It's not your power. It's Yah's. It's Yah's word. Psalms 91:2. I will say of Yah, He is my refuge. Bosom. That's what bosom means, refuge. And my fortress. My Elohim, in Him will I trust. I'm going to skip Kifa. So let's go to the sign of the water and the blood. The sign of the water and the blood. This is the third sign. 3 is Gimel, means gathering. And in the commandments, you don't take Yah's name in vain. Exodus 4:8. Exodus 4:8. So it says, And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these 2 signs that are speaking, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. So let's look at water. Nell went over this yesterday. Psalms 51:2. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. Proverbs 25:21. If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. Ephesians 5:26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word. It's the word that washes. And we got a little deeper. John 13:8. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Yahusha answered him, If I don't wash you, you don't have any part with me. So that water is important. But to keep me from preaching, let's go to blood. Let's go to the blood. Leviticus 17:11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement. So the blood is for atonement. Ephesians 1:7. In whom we have redemption through his blood. The blood is for redemption and forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his support. Romans 3:25. Whom Elohim hath forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are passed through the forbearance of Elohim. Hebrews 9:22. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. So we can see how it's connected. Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto Yah thy Elohim. Yah thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. We talked about being above a few days ago. Moses and the children of Yasharel. Yah wanted to set them apart. He wanted to cleanse them. Right? He wanted to do everything he had to do for them to get them out of bondage, or when he was getting them out of bondage, he wanted them clean. He wanted them to himself. He wanted to choose them, but he wanted them a certain way. That's why the blood and the water were so important. Because of that, they can get to the Most High. Also, I'm not going to stay on this long. You can go to the next slide. It wasn't just so they could believe, Moses could believe, or the children of Yasharel could believe. It was also for Pharaoh. That Pharaoh would believe. And I was talking to one of the ox. And yes, there's many civilizations out there that have come and gone. But Egypt, everybody knows about Egypt. Everybody knows about Egypt. So when Yah gave that butt kicking, his children, and them children and grandchildren from all around knew what happened. So Yah swallowed the serpent, Yah turned the water into blood. And I'm not going to go into this, but it's interesting that Yah used the first sign, and then he used the third sign. And so I'm not going to go into that today. But can you skip to slide 32? This one. So I want to show how the Most High took it from the voice of the sign in the signs, and how Yahusha was a great parallelism. So, if that makes sense. Yahusha was the sign in the flesh. He was the sign in the flesh. Watch this. John 1:14. Oh, you did it. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his honor, the honor of the only begotten of the Father, full of support and truth. Let's go to another one. Deuteronomy 18:15 and 18. And Yah, thy Elohim, will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. He's talking about Moses. Unto him ye shall hearken. And I will raise them up a prophet among their brethren, which would be Yasharel, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Why? So that they may believe. So let's keep going, because I got another one. Exodus 3:16. And Yah said to Moses, go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you. I'm keying in on the word visited. And seeing that which is done to you in Egypt. So let's go to Luke. Luke 19:41-44. Yahusha is talking. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. This is what I was looking for. Saying, if thou hadst known, if you knew who was with you, even thou, at least in this thy day. This is our day. And we get to know who Yah is and his son is. I told Yah for that. I'm not going to get sidetracked. The things which belong to thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes. For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round about and keep thee on every side. I'm pretty sure that's referring to 70 AD. But it also says, and they shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another. Why? Because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. We just looked at what he said to Moses. I have surely visited you. Yahusha is saying, you don't even realize that I'm visiting you. Yahusha Larad. Yahusha Larad. Let's read Matthew 3:7. Am I okay on time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's in the back of my head. Matthew 3:7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Moses threw the rod down, and it turned into a snake. Well, a viper. We're going to get there. There's one, if all y'all is like, well, it don't say snake. I'm going to get one that says snake. So Matthew 12:34, Yahusha's talking again. He says, O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? Speak good things. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Matthew 23:33, it says it. Matthew 23:33, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? So, let's go to the next slide. What were the Pharisees? What were the Pharisees and the Sadducees always going cray-cray over? You can do the next one. What did they use for their form of communication? Doctrine. Doctrine. So, Matthew 16:12 says, then understood they. Read this on your own. I'm just skipping to the good parts. This is the highlights. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. There's your rod. There's your rod. Let's take it a little further. 2 John 1, 7, 2-9. It didn't come up. So I'll read it. It says this, 2 John 1, 7-9. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the, listen to this, doctrine of Mashiach, hath not Elohim. He that abideth in the doctrine of Mashiach, he hath both the Father and the Son. So, check that out. If you don't have that, just hit me up. So, Yahusha, the healer. Like, do we need any scripture? I'm gonna give it. We know how he did. So let me just show it. The sign of the healer. Matthew 8:8. The centurion answered and said, Master, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof. But speak. Because Yahusha had the power to heal. Yahusha was the sign of the healing. He's the only one that could be like, be healed, and they healed. He did it over and over and over. Didn't matter if they were dead. Didn't matter if they were leprous. Didn't matter if they had a fever. So he said, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Let's look at another one. Matthew 8:13 says, and Yahusha said unto the centurion, go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And the servant was healed in the selfsame hour. Got one more? It should really say Mark 10:46-41, but I put 50 here because that's where I stopped on this. There's too many. And he says, and they came to Jericho, and as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when he heard that it was Yahusha of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Yahusha, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And many charged him that he should hold his peace. But he cried the more a great deal, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Yahusha stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, I think that should be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good comfort, rise, he calleth thee. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Yahusha. Verse 51. Why did the man cast away his garment? Because he believed. He believed. He knew he wasn't getting that thing no more. I feel like Netanyahu did a Bible study on this. Did you do a Bible study on the guy in the garment? That's a shout out Netanyahu. Anyway, he said, yeah, he did that. I feel like he did. But verse 51, and Yahusha answered and said unto him, what wilt thou that I should do unto thee? And the blind man said unto him, Master, that I might receive my sight. And Yahusha said unto him, go thy way. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Yahusha in the way. He followed Yahusha in the way. What do you mean by that, Yirmiyahu? I mean, one of these days we're going to be able to talk to that dude and be like, man, did it hurt when you were on the side? Yeah, it did, but when I saw Yahusha, he's going to give his testimony. Why? Because he followed Yahusha in the way. Hopefully y'all caught that. So let's go to Yahusha's water and blood, and then I'll wrap it up. I got 2 more slides there. Yahusha had water and blood. This sign should have been the last sign, proving that he was that prophet that came from Yah, from the midst of them, of their brethren, like unto Moses. He was the only one that they should have been hearkening to and believed. When they saw that blood and water, they should have been like, wait a minute, I remember my dad told me about Moses and the blood and the water. He got blood and water. I wonder if this is the same. But that didn't happen. So John 5:6. This is he that came by blood, by water and blood, even Yahusha Mashiach. Not by water only, don't get it twisted, but by water and blood. And it is the Spirit that beareth witness, because the Spirit is truth. John 19:34. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water. Question, where did that blood and water go? Where did it fall on? You trying to tell me that when Moses took that water jug and poured it and it turned into the blood, where did it go? On the ground. There is something there. And one of these days, if y'all find out, let me know. But I feel like there's something there. Let's go to the last one. John 20:30 and 31. And many other signs, forms of verbal and nonverbal communication, truly did Yahusha in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these signs are written, here's the title of the message, that ye might believe that Yahusha is Mashiach, the Son of Elohim, and that believing ye might have life through his name. So, in closing, question. Has Yah done enough for you that you believe? I mean, I'm serious. Has he done enough for you that you finally believe? So, if that's true, can we be, this has been on my heart for weeks now, can we be that generation, young and old, that will do what he says because we believe? I mean seriously. We are Hebrews. We do things Hebraically. We don't marry like the world. We don't bury like the world. We don't watch the same things the world watch. So what I'm asking you is, if we believe, can we be that generation that shows? We talked about this morning. It's not just knowing the word, it's doing the word. Can we be that generation that does the word? I'm serious. Like, no, I ain't watching that. They're giving me their vision, and their vision is witchcraft. I'm not watching that, because their vision is you can sleep around with everybody before you get married. Their vision is, you know what? See what it tastes like first, and if you like it, then you keep it. That ain't living by the word. That's living by their vision. Their vision says, you know what? Don't do it, because everybody you know is not going to want to associate with you no more. Can we be, what I'm trying to say is, can we be that generation that believes so that we can cry out to the Most High and he hear us and he take us out of this bondage?